Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. We're here with DJ Seinfeld ahead of.
Is it on?
It's
Yeah,
working. It's working. Ahead of his set on the new Terminus stage this evening. Are you excited?
I'm very excited. Yes.
It's not your first time playing to an Irish crowd now, is it? It's definitely not.
No, I've definitely played her not at this festival, but a few different clubs and festivals around.
And how do you think the Irish crowd differs from other crowds across the world?
Yeah, they're a bit more.
A bit wild.
a bit wilder, a bit more up for anything. I would say.
For sure.
Um,
And I think so. One of the questions that a lot of people were asking, who your biggest influences are throughout your career. Obviously, your career has is spread out across the past few years, but who would kind of be the backbone of your influence?
I mean, I think over time, like, throughout like the time that I've been producing, I've been inspired by different people, but there are like only a few people that I go back to quite regularly for inspiration, and
Yeah.
that would be like Burial, number one, like Omar S. and Actress. Also, like the list could go on and
Yeah,
on, but
for
like
sure.
those three are probably the ones that. I
And
listen
do you
to.
think a lot of their kind of styles of music have influenced your styles? Are there pieces of their music within your productions?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love like using vocals in my music,
Yeah.
and pitched up, pitched down, and it's a bit tricky not to be like to do that and not have people say that sounds like you're trying to copy Burial.
Yeah, that's always.
But there are ways to go around that, and there's also a certain point where you have to just like, this is what I like, this is
Okay.
what I feel my music is. So
And has there been a certain point? Obviously, the past year has been crazy. So you had the DJ Kicks tour last year.
Sorry?
The DJ Kicks tour was
Yeah,
last
that
year, and then obviously you toured with Disclosure this year.
yeah.
So things have been obviously a bit crazy. But was there a point in the past couple of years that you thought, oh my God, I just went from being like a small time DJ to holy shit, I'm actually making it and this is my life now? Was there like a particular turning point that you thought, this is kind of it for me?
I think it's just something which grew like for the first year and a half. I was just surprised that anyone would book me, because I didn't grow up as a DJ. I didn't DJ for 10 years before I actually made it to the circuit. So it's just been like small steps. I don't think there's been one moment where I was like, oh my God, this is actually real.
It's just been gradual.
It's been gradual, yeah.
Okay. And have you found that there's been a dramatic transition between having, so to speak, a normal life, but you're kind of just like transition into fame? Do you think has there been many sacrifices you've had to make, or have you noticed much of a difference between your past life and this life now?
Yeah, I think the biggest compromise that you have to make in this industry, or that I've had to make, is like it's definitely with friendships,
Yeah.
relationships. It's because I'm always on the road. It's hard to maintain any kind of long-lasting relation with anyone. And even though I have a lot of good friends, still, it's never quite the same. It's like
You always have to be somewhere else.
yeah, you become like a tourist in everyone's life, and they will just, they will see me on social media, and they don't really, it's never, they always assume that I'm somewhere else, and even though might be home.
Yeah.
So
You're
it's-
never fully.
So it's there are a lot of social compromises that you experience, for better and worse. I mean, at the same time as you might lose a couple of friends here and there, you also meet a lot of nice people. So, and I kind of like that flux. Like,
Yeah.
everything is moving, everything is transitioning.
It's constantly flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And has there been, sorry. So like obviously in the past few years you have such a rich background of music composing of so many different genres, but you seem to, obviously in the past year I'd say, you've really nailed down a particular sound. And has there been like, what made you stick with your current sound that you're currently, obviously I know a lot of your sets diversify, but is there something that made you nail down the current sound that you're playing out to thousands of people at every gig?
I think it's just I started buying a lot of new like plugins and VSTs and stuff like that. Sometimes quite obscure ones, and so I spent a lot of time just figuring out like learning the ins and outs of certain VSTs, and then sometimes there's just like this one particular aspect that you become obsessed with, and it's just it's hard. I don't think I have a sound still. Like I mean,
I disagree.
no, but it's not something that I find to be very important to me.
Okay.
It's I know certain people like sometimes you can tell like, oh, that artist has that sound and that's great.
It's more the experience that you provide when you're like
sure
enduring.
but I'm very impatient. Like I think there is so much interesting stuff to do and that I could possibly do. So at any point where I find myself really like going into the rabbit hole of like, okay, I want to explore this particular music, this particular sound, after 1 or 2 weeks I'm done with it and like I can't listen to it anymore. And
I think that's the biggest kind of contradiction that a producer has, that you listen to a sound over and over again and you become bored of it. It's just
yeah.
So another question is, obviously, especially lately with the rise of kind of bedroom producers becoming what they are now, especially in Ireland and the UK, with the popularity of YouTube channels. So obviously that has provided a platform for so many electronic artists that are now playing to thousands of people every day. Do you think that YouTube channels helped your earlier career?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I made the track that I think most people might know me for, like the U track.
Yeah.
I don't remember making the track. Like I was very drunk, and that was just like one of those periods where like I drank every day and I made an album in 2-3 weeks, and I posted it on SoundCloud the same night that I was drunk and just went.
To see her,
yeah, and I went back to like I was working a normal 9-to-5 job, and I go to work extremely hungover, and I see that one of these YouTube channels had essentially ripped my track and posted it on their YouTube channel. But I also saw that within like 12 hours it had like 30,000 views or something like that.
Wow. That's in the space of like one day.
Yeah, one day. So,
shit.
and like in that week, people wanted me to come and play for their clubs and festivals, and I never touched a DJ mixer or a CDJ ever.
So did you start producing before you ever decided to DJ? Really? I didn't.
Yeah, the first few months, I remember my first ever show was I was asked to close a club in Berlin to play from like 4 until 8 in the morning, and I sat at the airport checking YouTube tutorials on how to beat match and how to DJ. I never touched anything like that, and I was scared shitless.
So you were booked solely off this YouTube channel ripping this tune, and then you were thrown into the deep end ultimately.
And for me, it was a case like fake it and hopefully make it.
And make it. Well, it worked, I feel.
I certainly hope so.
And is there, obviously, I think I remember your first gig in Dublin was in Hangar, RIP. But is there a particular, I do remember you were quite nervous for that gig, but is there a particular gig that stands out to you where you were like, oh my God, I'm terrified? Like your most nerve-wracking gig?
Yeah, I think it was actually a couple of, in June, I played at Sonar in Barcelona.
Oh, was that before?
That was after Stormzy.
Stormzy.
And it was, I mean, I used to live in Barcelona for a couple of years, so it had like a personal meaning for me. And then it's like a massive space, and like also going on after Stormzy felt very
surreal, of course.
Hard. Like I mean, I just felt very inadequate. Like he has this massive charisma, and like I love his music, I love him, and everyone was going wild to him, and then he shuts down his show, and then on comes me. Like
of course.
Like this.
But that's videos from that. You absolutely smashed that, though. I mean, I think it's one of those occasions where the scariest risk that you can take, it turns out to be the best. You know?
Yeah, no, I loved it, but it took a while for me to get into it because it's so overwhelming.
Of course.
But
my final question is, obviously Young Ethics is your latest venture, so your record label.
Yeah.
What, when you began that, obviously you've kind of conquered a million different things in the past couple of years. So when you started Young Ethics, what was your aim behind it, or what was your? Where do you see the label really bringing you?
So I there are a couple of different factors. One, I like not having to split my royalties. um, and secondly, I like to have complete control over my music. And it's not to say like, I mean, I'm happy about the music that I've released on different labels, but there's always a compromise. There's always like you have to merge your vision with
Theirs.
with the label's vision.
Okay. So do you feel like this platform was a time for you to really just put out what you want to put out there?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
And it's just nice to have a certain sense of freedom.
For sure.
And I didn't really like it. I think I was a bit hypocritical because I saw a lot of people, you know, they become big within like in a span of a few months, maybe a year, and then they're like, okay, I'm now have to start a label. It's like they
that's
thought,
a very traditional move.
yeah, and I mean, I don't have anything against people actually starting labels if it's a genuine artistic curation. And so, and even last year I was like, no, I'm not going to start a label. Like this is not.
Yeah.
It's like I don't really have anything to offer in that way.
Because I feel like a career that has spanned out. You know, you've been doing this for some time now. It's a lot of musicians would have went down the label route a long time ago. So is it something you just put off because you thought, you know, I've more to work on myself before I venture on this to do it properly?
Sure, yeah. I just wanted to have a specific idea, and I will release on different labels.
Of course, you're not just localized to Young Ethics.
And it's just nice to have like. I mean, next year we're gonna open it up to other artists as well.
Do you have any in mind? Can you spill the beans on any or?
No.
No? Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Burial. No, I'm just joking. I wish. But yeah, so this year it was just my own music. And then next year I'm working on an album for a different label.
That was actually my final question was, is there going to be another album? As I think people are kind of waiting. People are waiting for that.
I don't know if they're waiting.
Oh, I mean, we're waiting. We're waiting.
But yeah, so I'm actually like pretty far along with the album.
Okay.
I haven't sent anything to the actual label yet, but in my mind, it's
set.
It's getting there.
Okay.
And now I'm just like hoping to get some people working on it.
Behind you, yeah.
Like I just want to have like my dream was always to work with Enya.
Really?
Yeah, I fucking love Enya.
That's fantastic.
And I think it's a pretty. It probably won't happen, but
it could
like
happen. Never say never.
Yeah, but if it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's exciting to have some like.
It's a blank canvas. It's something.
It's a
to
blank
kind of
canvas.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Give it up for DJ Seinfeld. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thank you.